Hi, welcome back and welcome to my channel Techie Krish. We have been discussing the looping statements in Python. In my last video, I also discussed uh, a problem or created the script for the given problem. We also created the pseudocode, and using the pseudocode, we'll be able to create the script. And this time, I'm going to create two more programs or scripts for two more programs and pseudocodes as well. So let's move to our presentation. So example on loops. So the first program to input a number and display is 10 multiples. So whichever number we input, it will give us the 10 multiples of that number in the form of the multiplication table. For that, we are moving to our Colab. There we'll create the pseudocode as well as the script. So see here. So what is the objective? The objective is, or the required information, we want to have 10 multiples of the number whichever we give, and given data there is no data is given, and after inputting the number, say whatever n, we have to take its successive multiples from first to 10th and display them. To take these successive multiples, we can take a variable, say I, and it initialize it to 1. Then we display n into I, then take the next value of I and display n into I, then take next value of I again and display n into I. So means it will print n means the value which we have entered, then multiplication sign, then the value of I, and then finally after equal sign we'll display n into I. So the process will continue till I gets is the final value, that is 10. So input the value of the number, say n, I set I to 1, and we'll apply the loop. So while I less than equal to 10, then it will display n into I, then the take next value of I, and after taking the next value of I, again the control moves to while statement, means the third step. Then again it will come to A step, where it will display n into I. On B step, it will again increments the value of I, and so on. So this loop will, or the process will be continued until I gets 10. Okay, and then it will lead to the script. So n is equal to eval input enter a number, then set I to 1, I is equal to 1, while I less than equals to 10. So since I is 1, so while 1 is I is less than equal to 10, so the loop will be continued till I gets 10. So print n into I is equal to n into I. So first it will print the value which we have entered. Suppose in this case I'm going to enter 7, then into sign, then the value of I, then equal sign, then the product. And the next step, I plus equals to 1, means I is updated and I get its next value. So this will create a multiplication table. Here I'm going to give the number 7, and it will create the table like this. 7 means number, then into sign, then 1 is equal to 7, the 7 into 2 is equal to 14. The complete table it is. Here it is, the script is creating. So this is how we can get the multiples of the number, 10 multiples of the number. Now the next program is to input an integer and find the sum of its digits. So how to get sum of the digits? Suppose we have a number like 526. So 526 we have to separate it like 6, 2 and 5. Then finally we'll sum of 6 plus 2 plus 5. So this is the output we want. So let's move to our program. First we'll create the pseudocode, then we'll create the script. So here in Colab we are going to create pseudocode and script. So what is the objective? We should also know. So this is the objective, to find and display the sum of the digits of an integer. So for the data given, there is no data is given. To find the sum of the digits and integer, we have to separate the digits of the integer and add them to variable say sum. So sum will have the sum of the digits. Okay, so how to do this? If we divide an integer by 10, the remainder is its unit digit or units digit. For example, 5236, when you divide it by 10 and take the remainder, it will give you 6. And if we divide, or the floor division of n minus 2 means, or n greater than equals to 2, if the number is means number of digits are greater than equals to 2, and if you divide it by 10, the quotient is an integer of n minus 1 leftmost digit. Suppose 5236, when you divide it by 10, the quotient should be 523, means, so there are 4 digits, and 4 digits 4 minus 1, so the quotient will be of 3 digits, that is 523. If we divide a single digit integer by 10, then the quotient will be 0, no doubt. By extracting the units digits from the successive quotients, we can successfully obtain all its digits of an integer. An example of this is being discussed here. So see here, input an integer, say, and we have initialized a variable sum by 0. Now we are repeating the statements A, B and C while n is not equal to 0. So in step 3, I am going to apply the loop where I am applying while statement where n, the number which we have given, n is not equal to 0. We will keep on dividing the number and getting the quotient and remainders until n gets, or n reduces to 0. So digit is equal to n modulo 10, so it will give you the unit digit, and sum plus equal to that unit digit. Then finally in the third step, in this step C, n is equal to n floor division 10, so it will reduce total number of digits, means n minus 1. So this process is continued till n reduces to 0, and finally we will display the sum of the digits. So here this is the script. N is equal to input integer, sum is equal to 0, means we are setting sum to 0, initializing sum to 0, and while n is not equal to 0, digit is equal to n modulo 10, then sum plus equals to digit, means sum is equal to sum plus digit. So whatever remainder is coming from digit is equal to n modulo 10 will be summed up in this step, and in the next step we are getting the quotient and floor division 10, so it will give you the quotient, means total number of digits minus 1, and it will go, or it will come back to while again, until and unless n gets 0. And after completing the loop or completing the process, finally what sum gets? The sum gets the sum of the digits of the integer. So this is how we can segregate the digits and sum up all those digits and accumulate in the variable. Suppose I am going to give 564, so the output should be 5 plus 6 plus 4, that is 15. So hope you understood the script. So this way we can sum up the digits of the integer we gave. So we'll meet in the next video with some other problems on while loop. Till then, bye bye.